What's up, guys? Welcome back to Viewer Castles. Today we're going to start off with ETF. Castle levels of 30. Validated probably on the Archer, although the Mage could easily do it as well. So let's jump into this castle, take a look at what he's got. Alright.
School's in session.
Alright, so it looks like a spike room to start it off with. Nothing too crazy at the moment. There are some goatmen up there. I should be able to initiate this with a headshot, probably not with a volley though. But they're not scared of traps, so they should actually kill themselves on this trap, which is something you might have to look into. Having your caustic mine up here as opposed to over on the other side makes it a little bit easier for me to lead your goatmen into that trap. And then I tried putting my my bear traps on top of the caustic carpet there to force that guy, the chicken, to get stunned on top of the caustic carpet, which is pretty good. I like this group, although it's probably not the most effective one. It's well thought out. You have the two General Pows with the chicken elite, and the chicken elite will also spawn regular chickens, which the General Pows can convert. Unfortunately, like, the chickens aren't that strong right now, so it's kind of hard to make use of them. Alright, can I fit in here? Looks like I can. Oh, that's scary. Alright, I'm just gonna pull these guys back. Pulling them through traps, it's really something that you should get into habit of doing when you're attacking castles nowadays, because you can see how much trap damage these things take, and it's something that you have to think about when you're building a defense castle as well. When you're using spike traps like this and rotating flame traps, if you can kite the units through there, it actually makes it probably quicker because they deal so much DPS to the creatures. So, you know, things like totems here can help that out. Forcing them to kite it to bring their units back before they hit the trap area. I actually like the Jimbo on the specialization with something that gives him a little bit bonus attack speed, because he has trouble sticking to ranged units even if he gets close enough to drop his shield. A lot of times you can kite him in that small amount of range as well. I'm going to use a potion here so I don't die. Alright. But yeah, having that Jimbo have a little bit of extra attack speed from either like a bad dog if you have an old bad dog, or just Enrager Puppeteer. I would prefer an old one if you have it, because they have AoE, so it makes it a little bit easier for them to actually enrage the target you're looking to enrage, but one of those two units is quite good with those Jimbos specifically. It helps them stick to their targets a lot better. This is probably going to be a totem, but I'm not 100% sure. It looks like maybe it's not. I actually think this is a good totem spot, although there is this rotating flame trap that if they kite back and forth, you have to be like pretty aware of the totem positioning if you're going to use it there. Okay, that's going to be dangerous. I got to use another potion here. Alright, so this is the boss room. I'm going to pull them back up through here again. Just make them take a little bit of trap damage while they're kiting to me. Or not kiting to me, but walking to me, I guess. Bear traps are pretty good against this spider, although even sometimes you can see right there, he hits the bear traps, which were pretty far away from me, but they still, he still ends up hitting you with the stun because it's just a ridiculous hitbox for that stun. But yeah, connecting totems to that spider boss is actually a really good idea. It's something that I'm going to be doing in my next castle, which the video for it might already be out, but it's definitely something that I'm looking to do, because it's really good. Alright. Another thing you can do against these Jimbos is, from an attacker side, is stun them with bear traps, and then when they're stunned, their shield goes down and you can damage them. And you can see him taking damage from the traps as they're coming towards me. Alright. I think that should be just about everything in this castle. So it's a pretty solid castle, but you could use a few more totems since the new patch allows you to have up to 4. There's a couple good spots that you could put them in, and also just be aware of traps that can deal damage to your own creatures, because that's something that, well, as attackers get better at like kiting mobs through those traps, it's going to make them a lot easier to get through castles like this and like other ones that use a lot of spike traps and a lot of rotating flame traps. Because it just does so much DPS to creatures. It's kind of insane. When you have 3 rotating flame traps, cutting them through that, you know, they're not going to avoid the damage, they're just going to take all of it. So they're going to take upwards of like 1,000 damage from those traps that you don't have to deal. Pretty much every creature that you're cutting through there. So it's really strong. Let's jump into number 2 in just a second. Alright, next up we have Pietjebell. I don't know. Castle level's 22. I'm going to do it on my mage. I could probably do this on my knight, but I'm not too confident in my knight, so we're just not going to do that. Ability down a mage here. So let's jump into this castle. I'm still using the same abilities on my mage. I haven't really changed them up. I might think about doing that in the future, though. I'm not sure. I probably will try out Thunderclap in a little bit and see how that goes for me. Alright, nothing over here. So this looks like a fire mine setup, but there's probably creatures on the other side of it, because it's not. Yeah, there are creatures on the other side. Let's see if I can. Well, that didn't work out. Alright, so right now there is a totem here, so I can get to this area and kill off whatever things aren't in the totem area. And so this is the problem with totems, right? It looks really good when you're using it like right here, and if you think about them cutting back through this area, it works out, but you have to think about every area that they could kite through a totem, and you have to have that area trapped up at least a little bit, because now I'm sitting here and I'm able to fight these guys without any trap pressure whatsoever. So I can just kind of like vortex them all in. You know, the Defendatron's stunned, so he doesn't get his shield off, and then I can start trying to DPS down the Defendatron, and now I could like let them all kite back and, you know, go back to their original positions if I wanted to, and make it so that I don't really take any damage whatsoever. So these are mostly slow traps, actually. I'm sure there's probably some fire mines or corrosive mines in there. It would be a mistake not to, because they don't really stack. Alright, continuing on. That's pretty scary, actually. The problem is there's not like a ton of damage, although Cyclopses do at least a little bit of damage. I'm trying to figure out where I need to go here to kill off everything, and really I can just kill it off right here. But through here would have been the better area. It looks like this area is just for mines, but there's no trap pressure in here, so killing stuff in this area is going to be pretty easy for people. So I'll talk about it again here. There's a totem up there, and I didn't notice it beforehand, but if someone does kite back in this area and goes forward like this, it's going to be a lot easier for them to take out that group. Another thing that I would say is if you're going to have like an empty area, an empty room that has mines in it somewhere in your castle, it's generally better to do it at the start of your castle. The reason for that is because this empty space makes it a lot easier for you to kill monsters. Like if there's no trap pressure in an area, it just makes it so much easier to kill things without taking any damage whatsoever. So like now this, depending on how hard this boss room looks for me, I'm just going to kite it back through this area again, because there's no traps over there. So there's no real pressure on me other than the monsters, And monsters themselves are pretty easy to dodge their abilities, as long as you don't have to dodge other things as well. So you can just kite back here and you can pretty much stutter step perfectly. The only thing I really have to worry about here is the Zeke hitting me. So just make sure to dodge the Zeke shots, and now the IMAX is probably aggroed as well. And there we go. So yeah, you really want to have at least some ballista pressure or something in this area to make it a little bit harder to kite back like that. And then probably just moving that initial room, like this part, like from this over. If you're going to use this room, I don't know, I would do something a little bit different. Either use a different room here, or make this go all the way around, like this, and have your boss room on the end side here, and just fill this room with traps. You probably don't have enough points to do that, but you'll have to either scrap points from somewhere, or just take out this entrance right here, and make your boss room like right there, and then just fill it in with more density in the rest of your castle. There's a couple options that you can do when you're going about like trying to improve this design. And then these traps here are like completely pointless. I would take this out, and like having a spike trap here will do more all the time and take less points. So I would definitely do that. Alright, so let's jump into number 3 in just a second. Alright, and lastly we have Jomoking. Castle level's a 30. Validated probably on an archer, although the knight has so much hit points that he could probably get through as well. Let's jump into the castle and see what he's up to these days.
Is this what passes for a castle these days?
Alright. Lots of rotating flame traps here. So there's probably some sort of a death zone coming up here. I kind of remember the setup from the last time I think I ran his castle. I remember the springboard traps on the side there. So I'm going to try to go in probably through this area right here. Just wait for a second, and then just go. Give myself a little bit of negative acceleration. Alright, I ended up dying pretty much instantly there to Goatman. This is actually a really cool setup, I like it. Let's heal myself back up. Pretty much if you probably should just run in there, and you shouldn't even roll. That was probably my biggest mistake, because you need your roll cooldown back up as soon as you land. I'm not even sure that it would work out that way, because I might actually die again. But yeah, I'm not sure it would work out the way I want it to either way. And if I can ever kill these things off, I will explain why. Because of silence, basically. The dampener should silence you if you're doing it properly as soon as you land, pretty much. So unless you get enough stun immunity built up, you probably would not be able to roll outside of the jelly walls. And if you're inside the jelly wall and silenced, it's really hard to escape the boomerang goatmen like that. I think there's actually more units than you're allowed in this group. I'm not 100% sure though, but I think so. It seems like there are, so probably a few goatmen aren't linked, but then they're going to get tickets as you're killing off everything, so it kind of works out. Somehow I was actually able to aggro that unit, I don't really know how. Alright, let's kill those off. General Pow standing right there that I didn't notice before. I don't know, I see a lot of use of General Pow, and sometimes he seems decent. This is actually kind of scary. Alright, I killed off the totem. I'm gonna just get out because the ram skull is actually pretty difficult in that room. I kind of like this, though. I'm gonna take a look again at that setup, because that's one room that I actually could see Ramskull being better than Devlin's in. It's rare that he's better, but in that setup, because the mines are blocking so much space, it makes at least 2 to 3 of those bombs hit almost every time. It's really hard to dodge all of them because he's throwing them into corridors. So you have like this back area that's blocked off by both. So when you go back in here, there's not much room, especially when the totem's alive. So there's only a little bit of space. Like if you're over here, anywhere really you are, Ramskull being basically point blank no matter where you are is really strong. Obviously the downside to this is the fact that you don't actually have to go into this room unless you want to 3-star the castle. I like General Pao specifically in almost like a support role, where what his benefit is that he's putting like chickens in front of you that like take auto attacks basically, so you can't really deal damage that you want to deal to high priority targets like Defendatrons or like high damage dealing targets like Goatman and Devlin. He kind of just has chickens always in front that are taking damage, not really for the damage that he does, but kind of as like a tank basically. Alright, so I'm going to try the same thing that I did, the thing that I was talking about in the last setup that was like this. He had that death zone at the start of his castle that I died to. I'm going to see if I can just walk up and get thrown, and then roll. So yeah, it did work the way I was hoping for, which is good. So basically if I have to roll cooldown up, it should be decent to be able to get through that, that setup. So that's probably something I should do just in general all the time. I shouldn't try to roll down those traps, I should just like let them hit me and hope that I have enough stun immunity built up. The problem is it really depends on how many springboard traps you're using, and there's no real way to tell that until you're already on top of the springboard trap. So let's go and check that again after I kill this guy. Alright. So how many springboard traps? It looks like there's probably 5. Yeah, so here's the thing with springboard traps, right? If you have 3, an archer can roll at the start of them and roll all the way across them and continue walking and never get hit. If you have 4 and the archer rolls at the very front of it, he'll get hit on the 4th one and get thrown. If you have a mage, he can get through all 4 of them and continue walking, because the mage has a longer dash. If you have 5, you can walk onto the first one and get hit on the 4th and 5th one, like one of those. Usually I think it's the 5th, and that will build up more stun immunity so you can get up quicker off of that throw. So like, it's weird how this all works, because it's like there's always kind of a counter to how you're supposed to go across springboard traps. I actually think it's 4. You can step onto the first one and get thrown by the 4th. I think that's how it works. I don't know, I can test it out because I've already died. It doesn't really matter if I die again. So let's test this out. I'm gonna like get back here and let the stun immunity go away, and see where I get thrown at. When I get thrown by the first one, we'll see where exactly I get hit again, basically. So I'm gonna try to just jump onto this first one. So it's right around the 4th and 5th. It's like right on the edge. I think it's the 4th though, and that will build up some stun immunity, so you can get up quick enough to roll outside of like a silence or damage that you're gonna take from like Goatman or something like that. Alright, so that's going to do it for this video. Good castle as always. So yeah, if you guys enjoyed, please subscribe. If you want to be part of Eurocastles, you can email me at frenzycastleruns@hotmail.com. That's in the description, as well as a link to a spreadsheet that will show you kind of when your castle is coming up and when your castle is going to get released and stuff like that. I update that usually once a week, so that's pretty much it. I don't have any names on the viewer castle list as of right now, but this video has been pre-recorded a couple days ahead of time, so if you emailed me over the last couple of days, then I haven't updated the list yet. But that's pretty much it. Thank you guys for watching, hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you next time.